Yo, what's going on, guys? Koi here. Today we're gonna be talking about pretty much the first tier list I'm gonna be making for the release of anime Saga, of course. Freaking, I'm trying to new mouse. I'm messing with the new mouse. All right. So yeah. The tier list, pretty much the way I break it down is the way that the game was designed. I think a lot of people, whenever they make tier lists, they technically, always just say this is the best character in the game, hands down. That's it. You know what I mean? But me, if you ever seen any of my videos before, of course, my community, love you guys so much. Every single time I drop a tier list, it's always insightful, they say. So the way that I break it down for people is the character useful? Where are they useful? And how far can you really take a character before it loses value in the game? Now, right now, since the game is so fresh, the design of the game is pretty simple. But at the same time, some characters do have some major uses. So if you guys want the details, I'm going to be detailing every single character in the game from what they do to some of the passives they actually bring to the table. Very specifically, only a couple of them. Mostly because there's some passives that are kind of negligible, some that I don't really need to go over because you're going to end up seeing them already, or some just that don't exist yet. For instance, there's no passive for Bleach yet because there's only one Bleach character. So, yeah, let's get into it. So first, I really want to break down the first starting characters that you will get in the game. Pretty much guaranteed all the time. You're always going to get these guys, and they're the rares. Do the rares have some uses? Yes, they do. Honestly, you could take, if you guys want to see how far you could really take some of these characters, I actually dropped I'm dropping a progression video. You guys could take a look at that, and that's going to help you guys pretty much know exactly the same information here, but more into detail how you progress with said characters. So let's break it down. First characters that I really want to go over are some of the stinkers that don't really perform as well as every other character, and the reason why they don't. Now, there's only two of them, and they're a part of the big three, man. And that's Naruto and Luffy. Now, sadly, I'm going to tell you exactly why these characters really, really hurt my heart. The fact that they're so bad and poorly designed. So Naruto's, one of his moves is a really weak shuriken that only hits one time. Another one is pretty much a move that is a Rasengan, but only hits one person. And it just gets worse from there. Now, Naruto just doesn't put out damage. He's not really there, and he really doesn't have good scaling potential because he's a rare. So that just puts him at the bottom of this list. Luffy, really good on paper, terrible execution because his moves are slow. He doesn't do a lot of damage. His scaling is terrible. He just doesn't have a lot of value to bring to the table, and he's one of the starting characters in the game. That's rough, man. Next, we're going to talk about the other member of the big three dipping into the early game, and that is Goku. Goku, honestly, kind of a useful unit. Honestly, he has the Spirit Bomb. He has the Barrage Attack. He's got a really nice Kamehameha. He's an amazing early game unit. I would totally use him to get all the way through to Marineford. But yet again, scaling-wise, it's really, really hard to get this guy to perform at a high value without putting in some resources that are already hard to get in the game. So I would not go any further than taking this dude to maybe level 20, maybe level 30 at most, and then just switching to an epic right after that, like Vegeta. It's kind of an upgrade system, but you're going to need these characters either way, so always have one locked. Just so you can make sure that you get the buffs for that respected, bonus. Now, next we're going to talk about Tanjiro. Tanjiro is actually solid. I like it. He's got good control with Water Wheel. He's got a nice Water Foundation buff, and then he also has one of the only iframe skills in the game, which just allows you to start off a combo even when being attacked by a bunch of people. He's got good crowd control usage. Besides that, his scaling's not too bad, and he's really useful in the early game. I can't lie. Itadori. Itadori is honestly so fun. He has Black Flash, which is honestly a little too slow, but he makes up for it with what's it called? Decimation. The cut that Sukuna does, he has that, and it decimates. Honestly, if that were the only thing I would base the scaling off of, the scaling for that cut is so high that you get a lot of usage out of that little bit for Itadori. But the problem is he's still a rare. The scaling's not that good. He's very good though. So if you guys really need to get through like specifically Marineford and stuff like that, this is the one to use. Ichigo, honestly, probably the best early game unit, hands down, for this category. Like for rares, Ichigo's on the top. His scaling is the highest scaling in the game. He has amazing moves that all do instant knockdown. Instant knockdown for his both of his what's it called? Um, he says Sangets. I honestly, I'm not a Bleach guy, so I don't really understand. He has a really good move called the Cutter, and it's really useful against those early game bosses. He's a very useful unit, and his scaling is very high, surprisingly, for where he kind of lands. His cooldowns are not too bad, and his skills, one of his skills is iframes to move out of abilities, and I think that iframes are really solid. Now, the reason why Tanjiro wouldn't be here is because Water Wheel just kind of ruins Tanjiro's kit. It's good for crowd control, but it's very, very specific, and there's a lot of characters that have what he has, but a lot better. Now, Ichigo just has that, but a lot more usage, especially whenever it comes to decimating early game bosses, at least with his skills. But after that, you know, he's useful, but at the same time, he's not really up there. All right, now we're going to go into the epic category. I think for an early game unit, Nezuko could be useful. She could be. Now, the thing is, I don't like her cooldowns, but she does have a guaranteed combo. It's a true combo. You literally just press like 2, 1, 3, and she just completes an entire combo. It's amazing. She's fantastic. Usopp, in the garbage category, even though he does good damage, his M1s are single target. Yeah, his M1s are single target, which literally ruins his entire kit, man. It's terrible. He has an amazing kit, but the problem with that kit is the fact that all of his moves, like, they have such long cooldowns. You don't really see any really good damage off of them at all. Like, they're okay at best. Brings me down to Sanji. Sanji's fantastic. I think he's a solid unit, but all of his moves are only useful for, like, crowd control early game, really decimating and speed running, like, early game levels. But after that, he kind of falls off, like, whenever it comes down to, like, the demon area and stuff like that. He starts to lose value, even with his 2 abilities that have really, really good crowd control, which are his spin attacks. The problem with those attacks is that they don't produce a lot of damage, and damage is what we need for a lot of end game content. And without damage, there's not really much you can do in this game. Now, that brings me down to Sasuke. I think Sasuke is a fantastic unit. Sadly, he kind of wastes a slot, especially if you already have good units like the legendaries, the mythics. He does waste a slot, but the reason why is because he has electricity. He's one of the only characters in the game that has electricity, and this effect is so strong that it stuns for like 3 seconds. You can switch to another character, do some guaranteed damage. It's amazing. It's very useful stun, and he's honestly, I would even say possible end game because his moves are good. Like, his damage is good. All of his moves stun. He's an epic, so he's going to be able to be used further and further into the game. But he is possible end game, in my opinion. That brings me down to Vegeta, the other possible endgame unit. Now, this character is literally just a weaker version of Beast Gohan. That's it. So the way that this guy kind of works is he's one of the only characters who has an air movement, air skill that actually hits air targets. He's also really, really good with the beams. He's got good barrages and really low cooldowns and solid damage. Now, between him and Sasuke, the only reason I would put Vegeta above Sasuke is literally just because of the fact that he can attack air targets. Now that brings us to the legendaries category. Before I get to the legendaries, I honestly just want to get to the end game. The way that the game is designed, there's a lot of characters that just have really, really, really good kits, and they're made specifically for the end game, of course. But there are some characters I would like to say no to whenever it comes down to the mythics, but I'll get to that in a second. All right, so we have Gohan, we have Katakuri, we have Inoske, we got Zoro, we got Pain. Now, Pain, honestly, possible endgame. He's got really, really good crowd control. I like his kit. I just don't think that he's amazing compared to some of the characters on this list. Like a lot of his moves are very, very solid, very, very open for crowd control. But after that, like I want damage, and these dudes bring damage. Sadly, Katakuri is one of those characters that doesn't bring the damage as much as these three, but the reason why is because Katakuri has an amazing kit, but it's only used for exploiting right now. He still has really good damage. Like, obviously, you're going to be bringing legendaries into the end game, but whenever it comes down to damage, Katakuri, he's got his uses, but after that, it's mostly crowd control, just like Pain. Now, Zoro, 2-sword style, does damage. Now, you have no idea. When he hits Onigiri, it has a chance to trigger twice. When he hits 360-pound Phoenix, it has a chance to trigger twice. He also has a crowd control move which clears trash. He's very useful, very adaptable, and totally a character worth bringing to the end game. Honestly, a W for the Pirates team. We have Gohan, literally incredibly solid. He has iframes with his Masenko, super short cooldowns, the ability to get out of really sticky situations, an incredible damaging move, which is the Super Kamehameha, and he also has just really, really good fast moves. The cooldown on Barrage Blast is the only thing I don't like about him, but besides that, you could really take this guy into the end game, really, really just go perform in any single piece of content, and he's going to be doing damage for you. He's going to be doing everything that he can to do as much as possible and stay out of harm's way at the same time. Inoske. Inoske is just slightly below Zoro whenever it comes down to damage, but don't get me wrong, this dude could put damage out. Now, with his cross blade attack and his freaking his puncture where he does like the rubbing of the blades, it does so much damage. The only problem between him and Zoro is Zoro could put out 360-pound Phoenix pretty often. Inoske does have really long cooldowns, which makes him like really, really hard to play with if he doesn't have short cooldowns. And if that's the case, you might as well just put Zoro on the team in that regard. But that's really, really good damage is so useful for raids and really good, useful for like crowd control too, because he also has a crowd control move for that too. But his damage output is insane. All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the mythics. I don't particularly like Okorun. The only reason why is because he has a lot of crowd control in the early game before evolution. So, like, if he's got a lot of crowd control, I get it. That's his job. He's supposed to be fast. He's supposed to hit hard. But he's mostly clearing trash. And that's pretty much it. He only has one move that does a crap ton of damage. And even at that, it's not even that crazy. It's like something Gohan could do faster. So it's like with Zoro and Gohan that just have higher DPS overall, Okorun, even as a mythic with mythical stats, doesn't perform incredibly well. Alright, let's go ahead and get into Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is literally just a better version of Okorun. Does solid damage, really good stats across the board, really good moveset. Not really much to talk about. He's like very necessary for a lot of damage-based teams. He's just one of the main necessary pieces for single target damage. Or I mean for damage in general. I wouldn't say single target. We got Firin. She's top of the board right now. The only reason why is literally just because of the fact that she's so good. She's got good moves, good AoE, and one of her things is sorry, I had to sneeze. She is one of the only characters that can actually hit air units. So crazy that she's one of the only characters that can do that. Next, let's go ahead and get Sid up there. I am Atomic. That's pretty much it. Doma, I haven't heard crazy things about him. Honestly, I've heard more things like problems with his kit. More of like a what do you call it, crowd control unit to kind of use as a support to your main team. Mostly clearing through story. He's not really doing crazy damage like Sid or Firin or even Chainsaw Man. Freaking, you know, it's really hard to put this dude up there. And with that same regard, I would also like to change Inoske to like possible end game, like top of possible end game. Just because the slow cooldowns are the only things that turn me away from using him in the end game. But besides that, Doma, I haven't heard crazy amounts about him. Uh, Besides that, though, I would just say that he's really up there. Now, obviously, just because of mythical stats, they're probably going to stay in the possible end game area unless they end up falling off in the future. But we'll see what happens whenever they bring new characters to the game. Now, there are some things I do want to change here. I would say, you know what? I'm going to give Ichigo the benefit of the doubt. He's very good unit, very solid. I'm just going to leave him there in useful unit. He's honestly a cut above the rest. Besides that, though, the rest of these dudes kind of deserve to be where they're at. Now, the way I would state this last tidbit literally just has to do with the fact that endgame are characters you must have. Like, these are characters you must have hands down. Very useful. For those who are going to bring up Katakuri, and if you do that, I'm going to flame you in the comments because the only reason people are bringing him right now is because of the Katakuri damage bug. So don't come at me about like, oh, Katakuri is the best character in the game. He's useful. He's very good. He's got good damage, yes. But right now, to do the damage that people are showcasing right now in like videos and stuff, they're exploiting. Like, there's a bug you could use to get his fists to always punch, and it's just insane. At really ridiculous damage. Besides that, though, I think Inoske really puts out good damage. With some cooldown reductions, he could possibly be one of the better damage dealers in the game for being incredibly consistent. He's also got really good crowd control, so I think he deserves to be in the endgame style section. Vegeta and Sasuke, honestly, two incredibly solid units. I don't think they deserve to be any lower. If you do want to put them on your team, Vegeta's obviously going to be your best second man for that Dragon Ball team, and Sasuke is going to be that man for your ninja team. So if we're going to talk about some of the characters you would obviously bring for their buffs, this is kind of like where you'd also look for that too. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take it easy. Whenever they drop more characters, of course, we'll do more tier lists. I'll see you guys later. Take it easy and peace out.